swaal ek hulle een vir eenheid. Nou gaan jy hom vir my net indruk. Aflossing gereed. Kom my kyk hier van. Die kry so pennetjie daar by die
Central to effective transformation of the old-style South African police force, the National Anti-Corruption Operation evolved from a special investigation unit set up in 1993.
Kyk wat gebeur met die ronde. Ek druk hom voor.
Here at the range, the unit undergoes weapons training to handle special issue modified shotguns.
Rigting na die teiken toe. Goed, wat kan nou gebeur? Terwyl ek besig is om te laai, as iemand nou wil skiet, wat gebeur nou? Wat kan ek doen? Ek kan nog steeds aanhou met skiet. Nou het ek klaar.
Established as the National Anti-Corruption Unit in September 1994, their mission is clear. Director Stefan Grobler.
The objectives are set out very clearly in the Commissioner's Annual Plan for 1996-97, and it boils down to just one thing, and that's to eradicate corruption within the ranks of the South African Police Service. The highest rank that we have arrested is a full colonel, senior superintendent now. And if you look at the list, it covers all the ranks. The excuse is that, oh, the South African police members are paid such a low salary that they have to engage in corruption to sort of augment their salary. Now, that is the biggest lot of rubbish that I've heard in my life. Because if you take into consideration how many people there are, let's say 140,000 police officers in South Africa, of which less than 1,000 are under investigation. And you take those who really struggle and suffer, but who make ends meet at the end of the day, and they're not corrupt. I am very concerned over the safety of my members. You know, you're against criminals and the criminal element in the South African Police Service. So the question is, who do you trust? We had to modify firearms for a particular reason. And although I've handled a shotgun many times before, a shotgun fitted with a pistol grip is a different kettle of fish. So it was very necessary, I thought, to get the people comfortable in the use of these firearms, even the secretary. She also just has to know how to use it, just in case, and heaven forbid that it ever should happen, but just in case something should happen, and she's called upon to use it.
Daar word inligting ontvang as jy besig is met 'n ondersoek en die persone kom agter dat jy besig is om teen hulle te ondersoek, dat hulle wel pogings aanwend om iemand te kry om jou leed aan te doen. Maar doodsdreigemente het ek wel al gekry. Ook lede van die ondersoekspanne het al wel doodsdreigemente ontvang. Dit het gegaan oor 'n arrestasie wat ek uitgevoer het by Mopani voertuig diefstal eenheid. Nadat die persoon gearresteer is, het die polismanne die polisiestasie afgekordon. Hulle het ons probeer binne die polisiestasie hou en die prisonier probeer afneem. Gelukkig was daar 4 lede van die spesiale taakmag en ons het daarin geslaag om die polisiestasie te kan verlaat sonder enige voorvalle.
En sluit.
Die polisman wat betrokke is by misdrywe hou 'n groter gevaar eintlik vir die publiek in. Hy het toegang tot alle inligting. Hy sit in magsposisie. Hy weet hoe om te opereer meer as die normale, sal mens maar sê, krimineel op straat.
That person is the enemy from within. It's like a cancer that eats away. And they have to be eradicated. Boots and all, not roots and all, but boots and all, they have to be thrown out of the South African Police Service.
Police corruption worries me quite a lot. I've been in quite a few cases where I arrested policemen myself and people on my unit, where there's been a hijacking and this guy had a police radio. Now, where does he get that radio? Either he erupted from a policeman or he got it from a policeman for a few rand or something.
Okay, but does the chopper have a visual on it? As in a garage? Oh, that's good. Okay, bro, see you now.
We've been in chases where they listen in and they know exactly where to go because they know where the cars are coming from. That's why some days we phone on our own cell phones not to be on the police channel because they can listen in to us.
Can I stand inside one of the premises here, inside a garage?
If a policeman is corrupt, it means that he creates a market for criminal activity. If policemen weren't involved in laundering stolen vehicles, then there wouldn't be a market. If a car thief steals a car or hijacks a car and he can't get rid of it, what can he do? Nothing. He can't sell it, he can't strip it. And the same thing, for instance, drugs, firearms, etc. So, if we can get policemen and members of the public to realize that corruption is helping crime along, and we can get them to stand up and report corruption, that will go a very, very long way in reducing crime.
Carrie, wie sê hulle is dit? Carrie, wie sê hulle is dit? Now, I love this unit. The guys I work with are professional. You can trust everyone on our unit. They are well-trained policemen. You know, when you're in a fight, nowadays the hijackers are all basically armed with AK-47s. That's a basic weapon for them. That's why I say you have to trust your partner. If you can't trust him, you're dead. The equipment we use is the best we can get in the police, and especially with the help from the public sector. That's very important. A doctor can't operate with rusted equipment. 2-3 years ago, we didn't even have blue lights and sirens in the flying squad vehicles. Chase a vehicle, people think you're a maniac on the road, and they didn't want to give you the right of way.
Jy het op 16 navraag. Dankie, Tango Bravo Mike 173 Tango. Tango Bravo Mike 173 Tango.
Our success rate is quite good. Since December last year, we've got 100 vehicles on the road. We caught about over 4,000 stolen vehicles and over 800 hijacked vehicles. And that made a big dent into the hijacking scene, but still, it's not enough.
Yeah, NG2.
Okay, Tom.
I would say the guys we catch are the guys that are not professional enough. They're the amateurs. The professional hijacking system are run by crime syndicates. The problem is there are all policemen involved. The money is so big, they can bribe anyone. Even at court, there are corrupt court officials and stuff. So dockets could be sold there. I can't say for sure, but I know there's rumors about that. We're fighting a losing war if we can't get it right.
We are very much alive to that possibility. We have not picked it up to any market extent, and I refer to my prosecutors. We have picked up that amongst certain police members there has indeed been corruption. My information, and is at that stage, at this point, that dockets were being sold or traded among police members before they got to the prosecution.
Dockets may be lost, can be stolen. I do not think you can exclude corruption at any stage, from the initial reporting of a crime, investigation of the crime, the handing over of the docket to the prosecutors, and the placing of the case on the roll and within the trial period of the case.
Whatever the reason, reportedly dockets do go missing. In addition, as with their counterparts in the South African Police Service, the criminal justice system is grossly understaffed, overworked and underpaid, with no effective salary increases for the past 3 years. Amongst prosecutors, the backbone of the magisterial court system, career prospects appear bleak, and morale is particularly low.
There is a central core functioning and functioning very well, but we are indeed approaching a breakdown point. Why I say that is, first of all, we seem to have a new transformation system which quite understandably wants to bring in the disadvantaged. We have absolutely no problem. But the approach has been taken to wait and see what vacancies can be filled by persons from a disadvantaged background. I would have preferred an approach in which the present bus kept running and one created additional posts to enable that process to take place. We sit with the problem that the bus has been stopped, vacancies are not being filled, and that has a vicious circle of results. Prosecutors are overbusy, and if one is loaded with a lot of matters, one simply cannot prepare properly, and you're going to get mistakes.
Court management needs some improvement. Prosecutors need greater degrees of training and experience, and also improvement in morale and other issues. So the system at this level is under considerable strain. Police officers carrying large numbers of dockets. I visited Hillbrow police station a while back, and there was a detective sergeant carrying 60 murder dockets. It's a substantial amount of work, and he was working exceptionally hard on some of those issues. There's a large number of awaiting trial prisoners, approximately 30,000 out of 120,000 prisoners. And that obviously adds blockages into the system where the courts are involved. Anybody who's been to a South African prison knows that very little rehabilitation takes place within prisons. My experience of prisons is low-level offenders learn crime within the prison system. A significant proportion of prisoners have already committed crimes. So in other words, to some extent we're catching the same people, and that means we're not rehabilitating. My worry is that we concentrate almost entirely, we want more police on the street, we must catch these criminals, the detectives must work, they must be prosecuted, but we forget about the end of the spectrum. This is a system. If you forget about corrections and what you do at the end of the system, you just feed back into the troubles that we have at the front end.
I don't say I don't sleep well at night, but I do worry. One looks to the future, and something obviously has to be done on a much wider field than just the criminal justice process. Look, situations arise where folk have to think very concretely. Let us take the gang situation in the Western Cape, and I'm glad it's not here. That has made people think very, very quickly and hard. And I think it's that type of realization which will result in action.
In our station area, the major drug players are the Nigerians. They are used by international drug lords. They are very, very clever. Just to give you an example, we will know that a certain hotel is a warehouse full of drugs. We will watch them, and when we bust them, first of all, they've got watchdogs on the pavement with cell phones. And as soon as they observe us, they will just page a number where somebody in a certain room, in a certain warehouse, will just shift all the drugs. A lot of the hotels are also part and parcel of the problem, and they will actually try and make it difficult for us to gain entry.
What's the problem is
Hierdie ou kom hier so afry. No headlights, nothing. Hy steeks al die robots.
We do not always have the technology that they have access to. It's very expensive. But at this stage, fortunately, the community is helping us more and more. They are making money available. They're making motorbikes, vehicles. They're making that available to assist us in the war. Those people committing serious crimes should be taken off the streets, and the community should be protected from them. In a lot of cases, they go on bail for 500 rand. They skip bail, they never return to court, they do not get the punishment they deserve, and the community is not protected from those people. And the Justice Department, the judicial system at this stage, is a thorn in my flesh.
It is for the state to object to bail, and it's for the attorney to apply for bail. And if you, as a judicial officer, interpreting the law, you are satisfied that that particular accused person has to be released on bail, then he has to be released on bail. Conversely, if, for instance, you were just, as a judicial officer, arbitrarily refuse that person to go on bail, still you are not applying the law as it should be applied. That's why I say I don't know whether because I am in the system, I fail to appreciate in what manner the administration of justice is falling apart.
The law needs to be stricter on them. They mustn't be able to get bail. The other day, I know in court, they gave a hijacker, he was a Mozambican. He didn't have a passport, nothing South Africa. They gave him bail. I don't know how that can happen. He left the country and he was a hijacker.
Either prosecutors don't do their work or police don't do their work. This is exactly one of the areas where we want to tie up our cooperation with the police. If they want to arrest a suspect, they should be there, available to the prosecutor, saying, this person is a bad egg, fight the bail, we'll give you any evidence we can get to fight it. If, however, they deliver a file to the prosecutor, give him or her no information, the prosecutor is at a loss. The accused says, I've got a good job, I've got a good home, I'll attend trial. What is there to oppose that?
Everybody is just negative. Negativity towards the politicians, those people sitting on their nice soft chairs in their offices, pushing the buttons. We must do the work, but they don't assist us. The policeman thinks that he's damned if he do, he's damned if he don't. We feel that the new constitution is actually helping the criminal more than what it's helping the community. And we are supposed to help the community.
Hey, Baba.
Good evening.
What's the problem?
Yeah, I got a problem from in 406.
406?
Yes, sir.
What, theft?
No, it's not a theft. They had a shooting on...
Community policing attitudes today contrast starkly the abuse of power and lawless culture steeped in brutality of the South African police force of decades past. Reflecting a genuine, if somewhat flawed attempt to acknowledge and come to terms with a shameful past, recent exhibits to the South African Police Museum in Pretoria trace the history of a police force at war with the people of South Africa over decades past. Past law enforcement turned the black majority into second-class citizens. In 1984, for example, roughly 239,000 black people were arrested for past law offences. That's 654 per day, 27 per hour, or one person every 2 minutes. At Sharpeville, on the 21st of March 1960, 69 people protesting the past laws were killed by the police, many of them shot in the back. Clashes between police and students, erupting in Soweto on June the 16th, 1976, left over 500 school children dead. A history of abuse of unbridled power, manifest in police torture and deaths in detention, provide a sober reference point for the mission statement of the new South African Police Service: to create a safe and secure environment for all people in South Africa, and to carry out our mission with the Constitution, the law, and the needs of the community as the foundation of our approach.
Because the police in present times, they do not use maximum force without justification. They always try minimum force. That's in present time. However, in the past it was not in that way. Policing has changed considerably in the sense that it's community policing. We are there to provide a service, not to take lives unnecessarily.
For many policemen, the transformation has not come easily. Cases are thrown out of court and civil claims instituted against police on human rights technicalities. Recognizing the urgent need to sensitize all police personnel to human rights considerations in day-to-day policing activities such as arrest, search, seizure, and bail, at Molloyskop, ongoing education programs are underway.
like in the past. These acts have to withstand the constitutional test.
Wat ondersoekbeampte wat buitekant werk. Hy arresteer 'n verdagte vir moord. En daai verdagte is binne 'n paar ure uit op R500 borg. En op die einde van die dag daag die verdagte nie op by die hof nie en die familie of die mense wat daar benadeel is, hulle is kwaad vir die polisie en jy sit tussen twee spervuur. Jy kan nie jy kan glad nie reg optree nie.
Niemand se oë met aan.
Dit is maar een van die redes hoekom verdagtes vrygaan, want dit is ook waarop ons wil infokus.
Let's say that thing about the state is everything and you've got all the power in your hands, that type of thing. I think that's the biggest change that we could have experienced here. Say for instance we've got information that there's going to be a shipment of say drugs or whatever on a specific road. In the past you could just have secretly went and put up your roadblock and surprise the people on the place. Where now you need, say, permission from your magistrate or whatever to do that. And many policemen feel now the element of surprise is in the wind. And what's the use of trying to do something like that?
Jy gaan aangekla word van moord, want jy het 'n persoon dood geskiet, maar daar gaan 'n verweer wees van byvoorbeeld noodweer, selfverdediging, wat ook al. Verstaan jy?
And now you get many policemen rather stand back and don't take a chance of acting there on the scene because he's afraid he's going to be the one that is pointed out for a possible wrong action that perhaps in the past was acceptable to do.
Kom ons sê 'n roof, hierdie ou roof nou hierdie winkel.
Some of them feel that although they do their job very well, that the whole justice system is against them. And some of them even feel that these Bill of Rights can be called the criminal's code of conduct, So we are trying to show them that the Bill of Rights can help them in doing their job. And it can help them to do their job in a correct and proper way. And by doing their job in line with the Constitution, it might help them to get better convictions.
Dit werk nie, dit lyk mooi op die papier, dit klink mooi op die TV, alles maar dit werk nie, nee? Hulle is regtig negatief en dan voel dit sommer jy kan nie eers verder gaan met die klas nie, want omdat hulle
So I think with a good program of training and briefing we can bridge the thing. I think many policemen are receptible to change. They don't have a problem to change. They just don't know how to change, They don't know what they have to do differently.
After this workshop, we want them to see policing in a new perspective. We want them to police in line with the Constitution and in line with international principles. It's not necessary to torture or whatever a person. That's completely, that should not happen in the police.
The Constitution has really just placed us on the road to do things the right way. There was an allegation that the South African police did their investigations resulting on confessions. Now, I'm not saying that is so or that's not so, but what I am saying is that the new requirements really force you to do a good and a proper investigation, to put the proof before court and not just to rely on a confession or an admission or this or that.
And not to be treated or punished in a cruel, inhuman or degrading way.
We're staying here in a town that is considerably right-wing orientated and you socialize with those people and many of them are a bit negative towards you, because you're now representing the new government and things like that. And that you can say that hurts. It's not like it used to be. You were the hero of the community, that type of thing. Okay, it was not the whole community, but I think many policemen are at this stage disappointed in the attitude.
Politically, yes, the people were seeing us as saving the old regime, oppressing our own brothers and so on. But now this thing is busy changing. Right now, the people are coming forward and saying, but guys, you are now doing a good job. Racism is there in the police force. You meet a lot of resistance from those people not only opposed to change, but opposed to the government as a whole. People see an advancement of a black policeman as a threat to a white policeman. I think we've got good union leaders, and the leadership of the police as it is now, they are actually trying to address it.
According to me, what I want to achieve, I will achieve. Nothing can stop me. This thing of this is white, this is black, is not here in my mind. As I see you, I don't see you what color you are. I see you as a South African. Discrimination, this apartheid, we have buried long time ago. We have now to live together and share our ideas. If we are going to say, oh, you are black, I'm white, what about crime that's our main option? What about it? It will high, it will increase instead of decreasing.
Most of us were trained in a sort of a paramilitary way, and we have to change our whole approach. My basic approach is to be proactive in any possible way, to concentrate on crime prevention and community policing, and to try and persuade the community to get involved in the fight against crime, to become partners with the police, and to also give us some input as to what the problems are and how they would like to be policed.
I'm tired of people saying, when it's my turn, I hope to God I don't have my kids in the car with me. I hope that when it's my turn, at least I don't get raped. I hope they don't harm me. Take the car. I was so lucky. All they did was clean the house out. We got away with our lives. I'm tired of hearing that. We don't have to live like that anymore. What we're saying now is, join us. Get rid of that sense of hopelessness. Do something. All of us stand up together and tell the criminal we are doing something. As a unit, not alone. We are fortunate enough to have one of the most dynamic police stations and police force members in this entire region. We really do. I don't know if you know that.
Why do we need Blockwatch in the Parkview police area? First of all, to bring crime under control in our area. As far as we're concerned, the Parkview police station, and as far as our standards are concerned, the crime situation is not under control. We will only regard the situation as being under control when we have no violent crime in our police area. We will need you to join Blockwatch. We will need you to be the extra eyes and ears and that extra visibility where we cannot be. Our approach is, it's all very well to have, say, 10 murders, for instance. And if you're reactively very good and you've got a good investigation service, you must probably catch those 10 murderers. But what we're saying, this is not good enough. We would rather not have those 10 murders in the first place. And that is basically a way to describe proactive and reactive policing, is to make sure that crime does not occur in the first place.
It's not a soft approach. It's a smart approach to the whole situation. We're 100 policemen at our station. That's people working in the offices, everything. We've got 50,000 people staying in our area. Then 100 people can't just serve the whole 50,000. And if some of those people, just say 10 out of each 100, try to join the police, the Blockwatch, then we've got that 10 more people doing the work, eyes and ears of the police. That's basically what we need. Because 100 people can't be everywhere at the same time. If we get the people involved in this, the proactive or the community policing, then it's much the better for the people itself and for us.
We're on our way now to a housebreaking in process. 167
Gearbox is lekker kak. Moet hom briksen, dit is kak. Kom, vrou mens.
Any alpha complaint that you get?
That's the work we do. The Bravo complaints, the people from reactive, that is the people working from the charge office itself, they do those complaints, they open cases. We just mainly do the alpha complaints, except when they've got about 4 or 5 complaints outstanding, then we'll help them out.
Hallo, 167.
You say 167?
Stadig so.
Gemeente 6 nou on diens, hoor.
Hoi, die fout.
Hier Paul Victor 18 weer.
Oliver,
still going on.
Ja, probably most of this.
Ali! Ali! Skoon daai kant. Ek sien niks gebreek nie. Daar's 'n hond daar binne. Ek was daar agter. Ja.
As long as nothing is wrong, it's
No,
fine.
it's fine. Thanks a lot.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thanks so much.
What's your name?
Vanessa.
Dan is maar rapport gevoer. Thanks, Vanessa.
Thanks so much.
This police station, we've gone back to the basics, very much in line with what they're doing in New York, the broken window effect, coming down on petty crime just as hard as on serious crime. Our instruction to our police officers when they go out on the street is you arrest everyone, from urinating in public, skipping a red robot, to murder.
Excuse me.
Hey, hello. Not a public toilet, man.
We found that if you leave the petty offences, people tend to test the limit to what they can go to, and eventually it leads to larger crimes. So we definitely haven't gone soft.
Stand here.
All right, guys.
Don't make any trouble. Don't go pee in the street again, eh?
So, as soon as you see a crime being committed, what number must you phone?
10-1.
There we go. 10-111. Okay, which is 10111. Okay, you must always remember that number.
And then we also have a special unit working with children like yourself. If something happens to you, say your aunt is beating you or grown-up is hurting you, what you do is we have a special line on 0800 11 12 13. You know that number?
And what we need to do is educate the communities, educate every person in South Africa that it's okay to tell the police if you see something wrong, because it is wrong. I would personally like to see community policing become a subject, the same as Afrikaans, English and maths at every school, so that we can start from a very early age teaching children these are crimes, doesn't matter how it's being justified by who, it's wrong. If you see something, the police are there to be trusted, and it's okay to come and tell the police if something's wrong and to make a stand against it. You go to a bar and you hear a guy saying, you know, I picked up this cheap video recorder for 300 Rand, or I picked up this cheap car radio for 300 Rand. And you know, and that guy most probably knows himself, that that video recorder or radio can be nothing else but stolen. And we need to kill the market. We need for people to stand up when they made an offer like that and say, look, man, this stuff is stolen. I'm going to the police now. It's wrong. And if you kill the market, you're going to kill crime.
Morning.
Morning. How are you? I'm good. I'm here to do an inspection of the cells. Yeah. And the role of the police monitoring, it performs three functions. First of all, obviously, to look after the rights of people who have been arrested. The Constitution is very clear on what rights people have. But it's far more than that. It's to build community trust in the police. It ensures that there is an impartial observer to check claims of maltreatment. And the police, certainly at this station, have been very happy that we have been there to check up on claims that have been made by people that have been arrested. Certainly when we came, there was a lot of suspicion from many of the police. I think that they were used to operating totally independently, and now having someone else coming in and looking at them did cause some stress and some tension. But they now understand what we're here for. Okay, let's first just go through my list, and then if there's something else you want to tell us, you can discuss that. Okay, the food.
The food.
Okay.
Okay. Well, last night they brought me porridge here. Well, in the morning, I never ate it. It didn't taste good. I actually tested it, and it didn't taste that good, and I just left it.
Okay. They've been treating you okay?
Yeah, it's okay. The brothers here, they even gave me some smokes and that because I don't have any smokes on me. And
all right, is it clean enough?
No, I think it's there, and the blankets stink and everything. It's quite dirty. Just come and have a look for yourselves. It's really unfair because, I mean, that man just found me sleeping outside and he took me to his yard and he accused me of breaking into his car, which is something I didn't do, you know?
That's, as I say, that's something I'm afraid I can't help you. But, you know, you do have rights to be heard in front of the magistrate. You can insist that they hear you. You can insist on a bail hearing.
But who's going to pay my bail? I mean, if I ask him for bail, I mean, who's going to pay my bail? I haven't got my parents. My mother passed away and my dad is still alive, but he doesn't really take care of
Godfrey,
me.
there's nothing I can do further than just check the conditions here in this cell.
That's right.
Okay.
That's what I've just told you. It's not all that clean. It's,
Okay.
it stinks to me.
All right. I'll make
And the food is okay, but some of it is bad.
Quite a number of people will start discussing the merits of their case with us. And it's very important at that stage to explain to them that we're not there to look at their merits. We're not there to give them legal assistance that should be attended to by other organizations. We're here simply to ensure that while people are in the cells, while they're under the custody of the station, that they are properly treated. And certainly we've seen conditions in the cells improve. Today they weren't that good. We're going to have to look in especially about the cell hygiene and the catering. But when we first started our work, the conditions were abominable. They absolutely weren't fit for any sort of human habitation.
Mr. Chairman, this is contrary to the whole concept of community policing forums. These members were transferred without any consultation with this committee. I don't think they were. The transfer was done in consultation with our station commissioner.
I think what I could say, it's nice and good, as the community should know how does the police handle the prisoners, and it gives benefits to the community to work hand in hand with the SAPS.
Some people involved in community policing have said that they'd rather visit the victims of crime rather than the criminals themselves. A comment like that shows that they don't really understand what it is that we're supposed to be doing here. This isn't a support group for prisoners. This is, as I explained, to ensure that prisoners' rights are respected, but also to protect the interests of the police at the same time.
New ones, they're clinging.
I don't think basically the Constitution affects the law. I mean, it's still against the law to murder. It's still against the law to rape. You just, according to the Constitution, might have certain rights, which I think you should have. It's not the job of the police to go and arrest a guy who's murdered someone and punish him. It's the job of the police to keep him at the police station under humane conditions and to make sure that he eventually ends up in court and gets a fair trial.
You must know exactly what are you doing is in accordance with the law, and everything must be done in the procedure way. Not like arresting a person, when resisting, you beat him up to hell, you just throw him here, whether he's bleeding or not, it's none of your business. No, I mean, it must be secured. Once you say to somebody, okay, you are under arrest, it's your responsibility.
At this point in time, a moratorium has been placed on recruitment. No new police recruits are being trained, which will mean, in effect, even if they start recruiting new police officers now, their training will only be completed at the end of 1997, which is a massive problem, especially to a police station like ours, which are running something like 40% under strength. I would say, crime is the one thing that is on everyone's minds. People are scared, people are leaving the country, and I think it should be a #1 priority to recruit policemen, train them properly, and just give us what we need to fight the war, because it is a war.
The big problem is we don't get new policemen. Policemen are leaving because of stress and that, but you need a better selection of policemen. The selection process must be better to get quality policemen. And I believe there should be more policemen on the ground. If you compare it to any other country in the world, this is one of the lowest police ratio to civilian ratio in the whole world. And I believe that should be changed.
Some of the policemen here are the best policemen that I've ever met in my life. There are also individuals that shouldn't be in the service at this stage. They don't care about their work, they don't care about the quality of their work, they don't care about professionalism, they don't care about the way they treat the community, they serve the community. They only want to make life easy for themselves. And that is not the way that a police system should be run.
So wat ons nou gaan doen is, as ons na die toneel toe kom en ons het hierdie ligte opgeslaan, dan is daar geen rede hoekom daar nie 'n goeie ondersoek op die toneel gedoen het nie. U kan u ondersoek doen, ons kan ons ondersoek doen. Dit kan vingerafdruk ondersoek wees, dit kan fotografiese ondersoek wees, net wat jy wil. Dit is waarvoor hierdie bus daar is.
We must develop the skills within the police service amongst the officers that we have. It's not enough simply to throw more police at the problem, so to speak. We need coordinated strategies, developing skills within certain areas. There's new challenges too, which require high levels of skills and high levels of resources, organized crime being an example.
The computer program that we are writing, we will do it in such a way that you can label your forensic exhibits on the scene in this vehicle. You can see
what your real policeman wants is the tools to get to the criminal, and that makes him happy. That's what I would like to see as far as money is concerned. I would like to see us getting decent cars, having enough cars, and the money being spent to recruit enough policemen to do the job. Because it's very frustrating for a professional police officer if you go to a crime scene and you know within yourself, you know, I had a plan to prevent this crime. We could have prevented this if we only had that and that and that.
Of ek kan uit die klant op die lei. Ek kan dan net af skoene. As dit glad deur is.
So aan die einde van die dag sal jy jou deskundige moet vra. Kyk vir my of die bene ten minste dieselfde is. Behoort hierdie onderste bene aan die kop? Ja. Goeie speurder is die ou wat die beste kan teer op die foute wat die verdagte gemaak het. Dis 'n goeie speurder. Vergeet 'n ou wat mooi oogies het en 'n ou wat kan elke dag by die tiksters gaan sit. 'n Goeie speurder is die ou wat die beste kan teer op die foute wat die verdagte gemaak het. Dis al, dis hoe jy verdagte vang.
Soos jy kan sien, jou femur, koppe, is alles mooi nog intact hier. So met ander woorde, sy het net hier gelê en sy het hier ontbind. Maar wat is vermis?
Die hande,
my hande en my voete is vermis.
We just are doing the job the best as we can.
We chose.
We chose the job, man.
Most of us knew when we came into the police, we don't work for money in the police.
I have been there for 17 years and I feel I've contributed something to the police and I think I'm here to stay now. It's quite exciting, you know. I've got a lot of youngsters that I brought up and like the station commissioner, he was my student. And the head of the reactive here was my student as well. It's like 12 years back. It's in my blood.
It's my calling in life, I suppose.
Yeah.
I want to do this work. It's my life. Can't see myself doing anything else.
Hello.
No matter what people might say, the police do make a difference. If we didn't have police, we would have absolute chaos. And there is incidents from time to time where you just go home and you just have a very good feeling about it, especially if you know that without something you did, someone might not have been around. It's more or less like getting involved in a war. It's like getting involved in a war and you know, you can't leave before the outcome of the war.
In the past, policemen were killed because they were seen as agents of an oppressive regime. Today they are murdered in the line of duty by criminals, often for the sake of the service pistol which they carry. Stress also takes its toll, with at least 91 policemen this year having taken their lives. By July 1998, when the moratorium on recruitment is lifted, the South African police services will have lost some 15,000 trained police officers due to death, dismissal, and resignation.
There's a lot of organizations and there's a lot of people who make statements that they're prepared to die for their cause. And I think what's not said often enough, when a policeman joins the police service, he or she is also prepared to die for the cause, to protect and serve the community. And I think that must be made very clear. The guys, when they go out, when they wake up in the morning, when I wake up in the morning, I know very well that I might not be coming home. That's a fact if you just look at the statistics. If a policeman is corrupt and is proven guilty in court, the guys like it nothing better, because allegations of police corruption, and every time it happens, doesn't matter if it's only one or two individuals, it gives the whole police service a black eye. And there's nothing more that I personally, and I think I can speak for all the lower ranks as well, like to see is a bad cop go to jail.
immediately it is discovered, then it must be dealt with severely. A corrupt policeman is a criminal. He should not be there.
Organised crime is an issue that needs to be confronted early on, before those syndicates, if you like, harden, and then they will be extremely difficult to police, and they will sit as new centres of power. Very much in the West African example, the Nigerian example. The Eastern European example is comparative. Here, organised crime grows to such an extent that, in fact, it becomes competition for the state, and in many areas, it's difficult to tell where the state ends, where organised crime begins, where legitimate business begins, and where illegitimate business starts.
The way to tackle this is by a task group effort. And the Attorney General must have experienced staff and the police must have resources. As a result of an absence of both of them, we've had to let a couple of syndicates ride. Now that should not happen. And we're talking about very serious crimes now.
The other issue around organised crime is to what degree organised crime has penetrated the state. And that's a very significant question because I think it's partly a question which relates to national security. Organised crime by its nature attempts to penetrate the state because it's good for business.
Remanded to February 1997, on trial in Rustenburg for corruption involving cross-border car theft syndicates, is Captain Kruger and 5 co-accused.
Captain Kruger. Hy was die eenheidsbevelvoerder van die voertuigdiefstaleenheid Rustenburg. Die beweringe is juist dat hy masjien- en onderstelnommers verskaf het aan gesteelde voertuie. Hy word dan ook aangekla vir die diefstal van die voertuie, regsveredeling, korrupsie en bedrog. Sergeant Pacino het gewerk by die klaringskantore te Rustenburg, waar hy dan verantwoordelik was om polisieklarings uit te reik. 'n Polisieklaring word aan 'n voertuig uitgereik alvorens hy weer geregistreer kan word. Die beweringe is dat hy dieselfde voertuie die polisieklarings uitgereik en dit moontlik gemaak dat 'n gesteelde voertuig weer geregistreer kan word. Dit is dieselfde omstandighede as Sergeant Pacino en Kaptein Kruger. Dan Constable Linda ook, hy het ook by die Rustenburg toetsgronde gewerk. Dit is ook maar weer presies dieselfde omstandighede soos ek voorheen beskryf het. Dan Steven Kumalo, die ander beskuldigde, die beweringe is dat hy die gesteelde voertuie gebring het na Rustenburg voertuigdiefstaleenheid vir die uitreiking van nommers. Jacob Weng, die ander beskuldigde, die beweringe is juist dat hy die man wat die papierwerk gedoen het. Met ander woorde die registrasiedokumentasie en gesorg dat die dokumentasie gereed is en reg is vir registrasie. Dit het vir my in 'n ondersoekspan wat saamgestel is uit verskillende lede van ander voertuigdiefstaleenhede, as ook lede van hierdie anti-korrupsie-eenheid, het dit ons ongeveer 8 maande gevat voordat ons die arrestasies uitgevoer het. Juis omdat daar polismanne by betrokke is en om te kan bewys dat dit nie net bloot nalatige optrede van hulle was nie en dat hulle wel skuldig is aan misdrywe. Maar van hierdie gevalle verskaf hulle 'n diens aan misdaadsyndikaate.
And we will act against them like we act against each and every other criminal element, to the full extent of the law. We will arrest them, they will be locked up, their houses and their offices will be searched, they will be arraigned before court, and everything that we are allowed to do, to the letter of the law, will be done to them.
Ek het hom geken vir 8 jaar, ek ken hom nog steeds. Soos ek vroeër gesê het, aanvanklik was dit moeilik om 'n kollega of iemand wie jy ken te arresteer. Maar dit is 'n ding wat gedoen moet word en as hy hom skuldig maak in 'n misdryf, is hy net so strafbaar soos enige ander persoon in die publiek. Daar kan nie een persoon wees wat dink hy is verhewe bo die wet nie.